Well, hello everyone. It is I, Umber Rays, here to talk to you about the 5th anniversary live stream recap. And for anybody who is wondering, before we get into all the details, including the obvious thing on screen, and the thing that you all clicked on for to know the most about, let's start with the overall summary of my feelings of the 5th anniversary, which this year is actually pretty tepid. There was nothing that made me jump up and say, yes, it's finally happening, with one maybe exception. But neither did anything really piss me off. There wasn't really any new power creep, there was no Neo Visions, there was no Super Trust Masteries, there was nothing that seemed that expensive. There's no 120 cost that we are aware of. The anniversary live stream was pretty chill. And maybe that's what the game needs right now. Not to introduce massive scaling things that annoy everybody and piss everyone off, but just make some quality stuff that people can enjoy. So with that being said, let's get into talking about what we got. And first off, the collaboration for this anniversary this year will be 10-2, which, as I stated earlier, was not one of the ones that I actually bet upon, but dear God, thank God it's not Final Fantasy VII, and that's good enough. 10 is incredibly popular in Japan, and Yuna is a character that people have felt pretty sad that her original version has been so far and gone out of the meta for so long now, that 10-2's Yuna makes a lot of sense for them to put into the game. So if we're talking about just why 10-2 was chosen, very popular in Japan, it has a character who is incredibly popular, and yeah, it's pretty much a safe bet for anniversary with some hype to it. So I kind of agree it being here, even though I know there's going to be comments where people are disappointed. This is a Final Fantasy collaboration time, so we were always going to get a Final Fantasy, not a outside of Final Fantasy collaboration. But I think that this just makes a ton of sense as being safe, marketable, but not 16. Okay, so that is that. Now let's get into characters and talking about that. So 1 second. Right, so let's take a look at what we have. So first off, here's the video introducing the 3 characters that will be coming to the game. LeBlanc is in the game fully modeled as a character, but is probably going to be the when this collaboration returns character. What we are looking at is Gunnar Yuna, Pain, and Final Fantasy 10-2's version of Riku being the 3 characters that will be introduced in with this collaboration. Now, Pain is going to be the free character that you will be able to obtain the first copy of and be able to build her at your own leisure. She is a great sword user. Yuna will take the role as a gunner. And last but not least, Riku will be a earth, and Yuna is light element, so that's consistent at the very least. And Riku is the kind of one that might be a little bit surprising as a earth elemental character. Now both Yuna and Riku are 100 cost, and there will be 3 vision cards with this collaboration. 2 will be gacha, 1 will be an event one, with the Pain VC being the event one at the end. We will be fighting, of course, LeBlanc, which I already mentioned, but also the Chocobo Eater will be the other specific enemy we will be going up against. And here you can get a little bit of a preview of Yuna's Limit Burst animation, which is pretty classic, and you can take already a hint that it is a 4-hitter. Here is the Great Sword Dark user Pain, dishing out some Pain, and also Riku, whose Limit Burst is just kind of super bright and colorful. A little bit underhanded. So I think the 3 different characters have pretty fun, unique personalities, which all come across as very, very different. But we're going to have to go through starting with this collaboration. Now, it will be starting November 1st on JP, and for global, probably about 1 month after, give or take anything, you know, that does happen, just to be on the safe side. So yes, 90 cost for Pain, 100 cost for Yuna, 100 cost for Riku. The two gacha characters being 100 cost isn't terribly surprising, although I am curious as to the reason for Pain being 90, but providing her performance is still good. I think it won't be too much of a problem, just more of a net positive thing than a net negative. Now, talking about Yuna for a second, we can see a little bit of a preview of her limit burst right here, but we can also get some other information. Her main job will be Gunner 10-2 style, and we're also looking at a single target. Oh, sorry, jobs first. Sniper and Trick Lancer will be the major jobs for her, or the sub jobs for her. Sorry, I'm messing up because I'm trying to get the actual details of her limit burst handy. Increase bone resistance resistance penetration rate for shooting attacks for 3 turns and deals 4 consecutive damages to targets while also increasing her CT small. So a little bit of a tempo boost on Yuna for her limit burst ability, as well as a chaining element, which could be quite interesting. Keep in mind that Light Veritas is also another ranged light shooter, so I do think that Yuna does have some partnership potential. Now, taking a look at the actual description, she's a midline physical attacker, a job that specializes in long distance attack that can inflict damage from follow-up attacks on allies by granting them effects that follow up attacks when an ally attacks, even if there is distance between them. So think a little bit like Bart's, but she also has range. Her bottom left ability is a attack ability, chooses a single target that removes the greater the distance, the greater the damage reduction effect will be removed, and then deals large damage. Top right ability for 4 turns, when an ally other than the user deals damage with an attack, the unit will deal an additional damage, minimal, non-elemental, that seals re-raise cancellation and disables CT up, but has no chain effect. This also increases the user's range by 2, and that is cancelled after taking taking damage twice, or 4 turns. Also, the user will recover AP when a critical hit occurs. Now, you might think that's not super great. Some people don't like critical hits, but if we look at the bottom right, for 3 turns, for 3 turns, deal 2 consecutive critical damage, large, up to 2 enemies, reducing their single target resistance by a certain percentage. So kind of interesting, this being the way it is. But Yuna has some neat abilities here that are actually maybe my favorite from this collaboration, not to give too much away right away. But a range character like Bart's that is pure gacha means that she will probably have an incredibly high performance. And I'm very curious to test Yuna out immediately when she comes out and see if she's actually worth, maybe some attempts to get. All right, we will now skip next to Pain and talk about Pain's abilities. So here we are, Pain, 90 cost dark character. Jobs include main as Warrior from 10-2, sub will be Saber Knight, as well as sub will be Lancer. So a little bit of mix of old and new there. Her limit burst is, well, actually kind of just, well, it's called Delay Buster, which kind of gives you an idea if you're familiar with Final Fantasy X. Increases slash attack resistance penetration for 3 turns, deals damage extra large, and reduces CT medium for targets within range, which makes a lot of sense. It is also AoE and has pretty good range on it, so I think that this limit burst will be more than likely quite successful for her. As for the rest of her abilities, she's quite interesting as being a frontline attacker. This job is not only good at attacking but supporting allies, as it can grant allies haste and protect effects and recover HP after attacking enemies with consecutive use abilities. So her bottom left one is a 2-part ability, Armor Breaker, that destroys barriers that reduce physical damage, deals 2 consecutive damage, and a second follow-up ability. Armor Breaker also lowers chain resistance on targets for 3 turns. Her second ability, Potion, restores HP. So basically think A2's abilities, such as they are. Top right ability, Rush, increases attack power of allies centered around self for 4 turns, increases CT buildup with a haste effect, and reduces physical damage with Protect, and allows users to survive, allows the user to survive a fatal damage and recover AP 1 time. So not bad. Looks pretty good overall. And bottom right ability, select 2 targets, large damage, and removes that ignore fatal damage canceling effect. So she can give it to herself, she can remove it from others, she can get rid of barriers. She actually is quite interesting for me because as a free unit and a 90 cost unit, coming on the heels of Dark Veritas, they have the same weapon type. They seem to synergize incredibly well. And this might be the best news for free-to-players because essentially Dark Veritas is free. This character is first copy free. You have a very good combination here that could be completely playable and PvP viable. So that's quite good. And I think that this will be probably a real, I think that this will be a really, really good free-to-play unit. But, you know, only time will tell, and we will be testing that out, of course. Now, welcome what I am going to be considering to be the pain in the ass of this collaboration, which is Riku. Riku is a Earth Elemental 100 cost character. She has Monk and Axe Knight as her subs. Her main one is, of course, Thief, as you would expect. But the limit burst already is going to be a bit annoying because increases slashing attack resistance penetration for 3 turns, deals extra damage, large, up to 2 targets, and increases attack power for 3 turns. But the opponent will be berserked. That's right, her limit burst is a status effect causer, which might not be too terrible, but you know, part 2 of the discussion. If you see that little circular symbol up there, it's because she's an evade character. She's a frontline physical attacker whose job focuses on evasion rate and avoiding attacks while also canceling HP absorption effects and lowering resistance to single target attacks. Quite scary. Bottom left ability greatly reduces reaction rate for 2 targets for 3 turns and deals and cancels greatly, I read across wrong. Greatly reduces reaction activation rate for 2 targets for 3 turns. Also cancels out HP absorption effects and deals 2 damage large. Second ability that triggers after is Curtain of Light. Increase resistance to AoE attacks and reduces physical damage taken by allies centered around self. So if they are in that diamond pattern, they get that buff. Top right ability is the real cherry on the sundae. Increases speed and evasion rate of allies centered around self for 4 turns. Allows the user to survive even if taking fatal damage once. Nullifies the sure hit effects of attacks on the user for 3 turns if HP falls below 70% when damaged. It reduces the single target resistance for 3 turns before attacking and grants AP recovery effect medium. It's pretty stacked ability, and this is one of the things that goes a long way to supporting an evasion team, which we were almost there with. I think this might be the character that really gets it there. And there is no in between. This character is either going to be niche, evade good, which is plenty evident in the current game on JP, or she's going to be a fucking nightmare. No in between. Bottom right ability removes the effect of reducing physical damage with Protect, and afterwards, if the target has Berserk or single target resistance increase, all damage increase and buffs are removed. So quite an interesting series of abilities on Riku, but I have a feeling that she will be doing quite well. This character might be the all-star of this collaboration for sure. But again, we'll have to see what vision cards and everything looks like to get a full picture. So from there, continuing on, we will go into talking about some other stuff with the collaboration. Starting off with these 3 VCs, one arriving with Yuna and Pain, one arriving with Riku on the 8th of November, and the last one on the 22nd, which will be an event-related VC. You'll be able to get this VC by the event, as well as getting all the shards for it. So that is good news. There you can see a preview of the boss characters and everything that we will be fighting. Skipping ahead, Guild Raid will be happening for this event, so get ready for that and your chaining characters. Continuing on, Yuna and Pain's weapons will be farmable. Riku's will be obtained through a quest that will allow you to get the resources to not only get the weapon, but build the weapon as well. This is similar to what Nicole kind of has right now, so it makes a little bit of sense that they are doing this for maybe a special weapon type, and it's also relevant to something else we will talk about later. Here you can see a little bit of some of the stuff that will be available during this collaboration, and it will be going till December 17th on JP, if I didn't say that already, as well as collaboration bonuses across the board. So that is it for the collaboration news. Now we get into actual 5th anniversary campaigns and so on. So starting off with the first one, we know that this is the key artwork for the 5th anniversary, featuring Jaden, Oberon, Elia, and whoever that other girl is whose name I can't pronounce apparently. So skipping ahead, we also know who will be our special character for the mid of the month. It's Jaden, a new version of Jaden based on his artwork from the new story update. This is a Ice Elemental 100 cost range character, so you can now build an entire team of Jadens if you want. There will also be a 60 cost vision card that will be coming around the same time. As for anything else, not too terribly sure, but we can be sure that this will be our mid-month anniversary character, or at least the first one. From there, this is a little bit spoilery, but there is a new version of Venera as well. The only reason I want to make note of that very quickly is because it will probably be relevant. Now, this is story spoilers, so I am going to skip ahead a bit and kind of go into what is important, which is free stuff. First off, 5th anniversary will host 500 free pulls for everyone. Basically, the first one will be a 10 UR guaranteed 100 pull. We've seen these before. Basically, out of 100 pulls, 10 are guaranteed to be URs. The rest is just bonus. And then from January 1st to December 11th, there will be a free pull a day where you can potentially get URs, but are not UR guaranteed. Now you may say that sucks because it's only 10 URs. Well, hold your britches there, we'll get to it. As soon as I skip through the video, say hello to this banner. This banner will be available to all players. It is a free banner where you will be able to select 3 UR characters of your choice and get them immediately to level 120. This goes up to and including the new version of Lilith. Any characters that have come after the new version of Lilith will not be included on this banner. So there you are. So if you've missed Shreken, if you've missed Gilgamesh, if you've missed Ramada, well then congratulations, this one is for you. But either way, it's a nice little bonus, and this makes the other bonuses just seem quite good overall. There will also be other campaigns along the way to do with all kinds of other stuff, so there you go. Next, talking about Veritas units. The Veritas units are almost complete, with only Light Veritas needing her upgrades in terms of the farmable Veritises, which will be concluded by the end of December. Dark Veritas has nothing for the meantime, but is in the planning stage, so please stay tuned for that. We will have more information when it's available. Next up, a new challenge mission along the lines of the Realm Scourge and You Are Mont trial and Snake Tank trial will be available starting November 8th on JP for 1 week with the lottery potential winnings. So best of luck to everyone out there. This basically you will be fighting Dark Veritas and a super version of him, so stay tuned for any strategies and whatnot that come about from that. Phantom War Days will still be continuing. Next one is on the 30th of this October. This is mostly for JP right now. Next up, JP will be hosting offline event campaign, where basically if you can get together a bunch of players who play the game on your own, you can all get a nice little benefit of some multiple UR guaranteed tickets. Best of luck. I have no idea if this is coming to global or not, and I'm not commenting anymore on it, so bleh. So that, I think, was about all except for some t-shirts, which may or may not be available in the Square Enix store. I really wasn't paying too much attention. You can see some previews of them. But yeah, we have some more stuff, so let's get on with it. So now here is, and line stickers, which actually are really good. Shout out to the Zazen and Glassy ones, which are probably my favorites of the bunch of them. Okay, that's all for the 5th anniversary campaign stuff, and now we get into actual upgrades that we will be looking at starting with the 5th anniversary, starting with the Commander feature. Now, the Commander feature is probably familiar to some people, but it might be a little bit different, so we will explain. Basically, some characters will be able to take part in a battle as a 6th character in a party, but will not actually enter the battle. Instead, they will act as a commander unit, giving bonuses and aid to the other characters that do venture into battle. So for example here, regular SSR Mont is shown as an example character, potentially breathing new life into some old characters. However, this can be used in quest, duels, and guild battle. The content and style and characters that are used for each of these have not exactly been explained too well yet. So if you're wondering about it, stay tuned for more concrete details later, but it seems like some characters will be used for some things and not for other things. Either way, you can kind of see the UI here, where when in party feature, there is an extra slot for an extra character. That will be the commander, and you can see the bonuses and everything. Also, if you take a look right in here, you can kind of see a cost that will be involved in this. So it could dramatically alter limited cost events and whatnot. But you can see a little bit of a preview here. Again, nothing is particularly final yet, it feels like. So, stay tuned for more details as it happens. Here you can also see some of the effects that would potentially affect a character, such as HP up, Earth attack up, luck up, attack up, and so on, and reaction block up. When certain character or certain conditions are met, this will trigger effects that will happen. So there is a little bit of potential strategy that you might need to do. This also might make older content just generally easier, so I'm all for this. Either way, it seems to just use characters we already have and might add a little bit of dynamics as to new characters coming out. Do you get a new character just to use them as a commander, or do you get a character just to use as a actual in battle character? We'll see. But either way, it's pretty interesting, and I look forward to seeing how this works in greater detail. As for right now, there doesn't seem to be any extra cost for it, so chill before you type any angry comments. Now, next up, oh wait, this is still just showing that. You can set it in this screen, or no, go back. This is something new. This is the other new thing that is being held, called Grand Arena. Grand Arena will be held as PvP content. A non-ranked arena will be held in the first half of November as a trial period. The full version will be held in the second half of November. The Grand Arena PvP, in which parties will be set with 5 characters and will follow certain rules, such as being limited to characters of a certain country or limited to SSR or below. This is what I kind of like about this. First off, if you are going to do this, make it nutty, make it weird, make it reward people who have been around for a long time and have built a lot of characters, or at least give people incentive to build those characters. I like this for this reason. The rewards for this look to be a little bit vague and nebulous, including something to do with weapons as well as titles. And depending on what exactly it is, we'll see how negatively it potentially impacts. But since this game is essentially a PvP game for the most part, adding a new PvP that is a little more basic, straightforward, and potentially wacky might actually be a overall good thing. Only time will tell, but I'm not negatively against this because, well, we are familiar with this already and it just seems okay to me. All right, so that is everything to do with that. We will now continue on to the next thing, which might get some people more than a little excited. Say hello to Master Ability 3. Now, Master Ability 3 will be starting on November 14th and will include the following characters. Now, before you write your angry comments, consider this. We have a bunch of different characters here: an Earth Ninja Blade, we have a Ice Gunner, we have a Dark Mage, we have a Light Mage, and last but not least, we have a Thunder Fist. As some people have pointed out in my chat during the live stream, there's a little bit of synergy in the triangle there with Ketone and Riku, Helena and Pain, and Starlight Elena and Yuna, which is probably more than a little bit coincidental and more than likely intentional at this point. Also, Alaya being an ice range character matches with Jaden, which makes us kind of believe that we're going to see a Thunder Fist character in the near future, if it isn't just meant to potentially be with Thunder Alaya. Anyway, Master Ability 3s will be starting. As for the exact detail about these, the way to unlock it is the same way as Master Ability 2, but we'll have a wider range of enhancements than Master Ability 2. So whether or not this is as encompassing as the Final Fantasy Tactics characters, no clue at this point. But it is looking promising because a lot of people have been asking for older characters to get buffs. Let's go. They were also showing a little bit of a preview for the December character, which may or may not be indicative of what we will get in December. So just skipping ahead, we will see that Fly, Glassy, and Rain will be getting their Master Ability 3s in December, as well as all the Christmas characters, which is interesting because Xmas Raph doesn't even have her Master Ability 2, but I don't know. All right, so here is the granddaddy of the news today, and I think the thing that probably is going to make people the most happy, which is the future roadmap for November. Starting off in November with the update, the renovation to holo cards will now allow Vision Stars to be used in exchange for shards for holo Vision cards. The rate are higher than normal Vision cards, but this is what people have been asking for, including myself. Holo Vision cards don't suck as much now. Super happy. All right, next up, job classification will be changing for Vision cards, including, with one specification. Daggers and ninja swords will now be considered to be the same. This might be because there just aren't that many characters appearing in either of those weapon types. But either way, I think it's actually a good combination since, yeah, they don't get that much support. So probably a good decision overall. Next up, seal updates. So the new seal effect increased the number of challenges during the pilgrimage. Seals are now more common to all periods. They will be reset every month, but the seals for a specific month will no longer be available. Sorry, I just got distracted by a message. Let me just get that back. What that means is your monthly seals basically will have a little bit more of a way to get more of them, and they are more common to all periods. They will be reset every month, but the seals are a specific month will no longer be reset. So you can potentially save them and have a really big month, which is kind of interesting. From there, we have improvements to ease of play. Some keys will now be able to be exchanged in the item exchange shop. Adjustments to drops of items in Select Quest, Shining Stone Chamber, Magic Stone Acquisition, Summon Beast Awakening. So that's kind of nice, just probably for making life easier, as the topic says. And last but not least, auto use of Trust Mastery ability and Summon Magic can now be set on or off for each stage. So just everything in November is actually a bunch of quality of life that improves the game. Good job. From there, future plans will include being able to take part in other quests such as story and events while running background farming, adding a sorting option for the limited number of PA targets for vision cards on the equipment screen, so better vision card sorting. Your own party will be displayed at the top of guild battles when integrating abilities of Shime Stones and Shime Stones equipment equipped to characters can now be used as materials. And last but not least, multi-quest. Auto multi-quest is still on the docket to be done eventually. So there you go. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, I have to say that I think it's a nice bunch of net positives for the game, considering that we were predicting a lot of the worst stuff. The 5th anniversary is quite tame with just a bunch of upgrades, and maybe that's the correct way forward. Stable, reliable, and what we already know with just improvements to other stuff. Either way, we'll see how the commander ability and some of the other things that come in the 5th year shape out, but there's nothing here that I feel is overly negative. And you know me, if I was feeling that it was going to be negative, I'd fucking say it. Last but not least was the Phantom Awards second last was the Phantom Awards, which basically celebrates stuff as Arena Awards, Class Match Awards, Guild Awards, the Adorer Rewards, the Turtle Hunting Rewards. But here's the thing. I'm only going to shout out one specifically, the Supporter Award, which included 3 people, and of course, Peachin was at the top of the list. So shout outs to Peachin, one of the few content creators left on JP, someone that I use his content quite regularly because it's so good, even if he doesn't play the game that much anymore. Shout outs to him. Big thank you for making the 4th year bearable. And last but not least is the end of the event bonuses. So the bonuses, you know, the rewards for presents and everything like that. They will be a bunch of stuff, everything that you see on this menu here. Potentially, I do believe there was also 8,000 lapis, one from a challenge. The Globalers should get all of this as well, eventually in the future. But they also, for the 5th anniversary, we got 5,000 stones to pull with. So there you go. So that is a full and comprehensive list of the 5th anniversary. By no means smaller in terms of my review for the most part of everything that there is. But you know what? I would say that not a negative thing this year. Feeling quite tepid about it. I'm kind of excited to see what happens with the 10-2 characters and potentially with characters going forward. Either way, let me know what you think. Comments below. Thanks for watching. See you later.